At a party in Blairgowrie, the Stewart family celebrates their son's return home from Australia with songs and dances. But these are not ordinary Scots people. They are gypsies who've been forced to live on the edge of society for more than 500 years.
My children went to school in a hard time because the word wasn't travelling people at that time, it was tinker. And it was tinky, tinky, tinky. And, well, they wouldn't play with them in the playground, or they wouldn't sit beside them if they could possibly help it in the classroom. When they grew up a bit too, they couldn't go to dancing or anything. Nobody would dance with them because they were tinkers.
I don't have anything to do with banks at all. None. I've never had money in a bank in my life. All the money that I have, which is very little, I can keep it all in my pockets. night I lay in the cold Grundy. Oh, the night I lay in the cold jail. For my mort and my kinsons are scattered, and I dinna John where they may be. But if ever I do go a-chorin', I'll be sure for to go by myself. I will mully the Gardies by dozen, and there'll be nobody there for to tell. There's just one single willow, see? I can make 3 out of 1. That's that little implement again.
For centuries, the gypsies have lived apart from society, romanticized, feared, and discriminated against as outsiders in Scotland. They have survived as makers of baskets, tinkers, and traders of horses. Camping in homemade tents and in caravans by the side of the road, they have always lived as travelers, but today most of the gypsies live in houses.
Once upon a time, the women only had a certain amount of rations. When you feed for 6 months. Well, for that 6 months, although you were a dead corp, you never got no money to help you. You had to have a certain amount of your own tea, you got milk from the farm, you got your a certain amount of oatmeal, and the maid of the farm had always to put on a boiling kettle for you at 12 o'clock. Well, in the winter nights, they'd nothing else to do. If they can't, they played maybe a gamble, maybe played bagpipes, or sung songs to keep themselves going for the rest of the day, because there were no televisions, no wirelesses, no nothing to keep them going. They just made them up themselves. The educatedest man was the man that could make the most ballads. And once they got to sing them, it used to be a regular sing at night.
The Duke of Gordon had 3 pretty daughters. I both Elizabeth and Margaret and Jean. And they would not stay at home in bonny Castle Gordon till they would see bonny Aberdeen. But they were nae long in Aberdeen, but 12 months in some days, I till Jean fell in love with Captain Ogilvy. All and from him she would not stay. Sure if I was on the hills of the Proudlands, where all time I have been, sure as I would find my way to bonny Castle Gordon, be south either south and the sea. When she came to the Duke of Gordon's gate now, all and down upon thy plain, sure the porter out with a loud shout, saying, "This here comes the bonny Lady Jean." Duke of Gordon come running downstairs with his hat all into his hand, saying, you're welcome, Miss Jeannie Gordon. But a stranger dare not enter my land. That's it, Mary. A stranger dare not enter my land.
I believe the first story I can remember, it's about maybe 5-year-old, and it was an aunt used to tell stories to all the winds. She would gather them all in about an old aunt I had, and that was her pastime, telling stories to the wind. And I think the first story that ever I remember was Johnny Pie Me For My Story. It's a 3-part story, and it lasts about 2.5 hours to 3 hours. I think that was the first I remember because it was a great story.
What kind of happens in the story?
Well, it starts with a boy and his mother, and what this boy does, and the things he's got to come through. He's a fish in the sea, he's a lion in the forest, and he's a hawk in the woods. Now, through the time, all these things comes in handy because he's to do difficult things, and each of these things come in very, very handy for him. And when the story's finished, he gets his freedom for the man. It keeps him in this 3 puzzles. Well, the castle, if he goes to the end, there's a giant wall built round about it. And he's a human being, you see, and he walks round about and he says, I can't get over that wall, he says. And he turned his and the hawk, and he flew over the wall. And the inside of this wall, there was these great big giant dogs. The dogs made at him to bite him, and he turned his into the line and frightened these dogs away. See? Now, he frightened the dogs away. This big giant castle was in, and he was looking for this lassie in the castle. And of course, he turned his back into the hawk again, and he flew right round about the castle, right round about, peering into all these wee windows where he thought the lassie would be. And finally, way in the topmost tower of the castle, here she was in prison, the topmost tower of the castle. And he was sitting in the window, looking in at her. And she was sitting in, and she was looking out, and she seen this wee hawk sitting in the window, and she opened the window, and she let the wee hawk in for to pet it. And of course, when he come in, he turned his back into the man again. And he explained to her how he was there, and he come to save her and everything like that.
I was born in a very small tent, which most of the travelling people lived in at that time, you know. They didn't live in houses at all then. My father just roamed about, my mother, and I was born in a small tent at a place called Capeth, on the bank of the River Tay, on the way to Dunkeld. And I was the first girl born, which of course my father was very, very happy about that morning. But my mother was very ill. They didn't have any medical attention at all then. None of the travelling people in confinements or anything else. Oh, two pretty boys were going to the school, and one evening coming home, said William to John, can you throw a stone? Or can you play at a ball? Or can you play at a ball? Said William to John, I cannot throw a stone, nor a little can I play at a ball. But if you come down to yon merry green woods, I'll try you a wrestling fall. I'll try you a wrestling fall. So when they came to yon merry green wood, beneath the spreading moon, the little penknife slipped out of William's pocket, which gave John his deadly wound, which gave John his deadly wound. Oh, you'll take off your white holland shirt, and you'll tear it from gore to gore, and you shall bind my deadly wounds, and they shall blood no more, and they shall blood no more. Oh, he took off his white holland shirt, and he tore it from gore to gore, and he did bind his deadly wounds, but they bled 10 times more and more. Oh, they bled 10 times more. Oh, what will I tell to your father dear, this night when I go home? You can tell him I'm away to a London school, and the good scholar I'll come home, and the good scholar I'll come home. At the mellow Tefties lived a man in the neighborhood of 5 years, for he had a lovely daughter fair, and they called her Bonnie Annie. Knew her hair was fair, and her eyes were blue, and her cheeks as red as roses. Several people could sing the same song, but we had something that we called a cognac. And a cognac in a ballad is a feeling. You could sit listening to several people maybe singing the same ballad and it didn't do a thing to you. And suddenly someone with a cognac would get up and sing the same ballad. And God, you were just living it. I mean, it was something entirely different altogether. I said, no, I'm just Tufty's Bonnie Annie. Near my love I go to Edinburgh too, and for a while must leave you. Oh, but I'll be deed before you come back, and the green kirkyard o' Fyvie. Nor
obiti our brother is struck her wondrous sore. We cruel strokes and many, and he broke her back over the temple stain. Aye, the temple stain of ivy. Oh, mother dear, please make my bed and lay my face to 5 for I will lie and I will die for my dear Nu hon andra hem feden bara we muckle grief and sorrow. Oh, my love, she died for me last night, so I'll die for her tomorrow.
It would be a terrible thing if the travellers was moving to houses because they'll lose their culture, they'll lose their identity. Maybe not to begin with because they're still older travellers, but I think it'd be terrible for the younger ones. They'll lose everything. They'll even lose their language, their way of life, their freedom, and I think that is the biggest tragedy of all, is when the travellers go into houses. This place here is going to be the traveller site for the travelling people that's on the Ammon just now, a Perthshire site. All these houses in the background is where nearly all the travellers have lived at one time or other, and this is why they object to this site so much, because it's in a very bad area. It's a ghetto. To dump a traveller right in the middle centres of Perth, I think it's just terrible. The thing will never work.
The problems of housing or accommodating these people has become quite acute in the last year or so. To allow them to continue in wild campsites is quite unacceptable. We have now hopefully identified 2 sites within our area, one of which we hope to bring on stream very quickly.
We're against the place where the caravan sites going. They want to build a caravan site right in the town, right beside the slum area. We didn't want beside the slum area. Because putting caravans across next to the slum area is just going to make it twice as bad as what it really is.
We feel that if we get these people, and we will get them, into an organised site, a site which they are happy to go to and will have the maximum facilities that can be provided, short of giving them a house, and they don't want a house. Once that has been achieved, I think that will, and I'm fairly certain, that will remove the majority of the friction that presently exists, because they will be on their own, in their own encampment. They can then live amongst themselves, and they will not be affecting anybody else.
Oh, dear Father, I'll tell you what you've done. You wed me to a bonny boy who's far too young. You wed me to a bonny boy who's far too young. He's my bonny boy, he's young, but he's growing.
John. What you doing?
Making shots for the caravan.
You got the only old caravan here, huh?
That's the only one.
What are you going to do with this when you get it finished?
I'll put the horses and travel with it.
Would you like to have a permanent site
Yes, we would.
so that you could live there always or come and go from it?
Well, we would like to make it so we could live there, but go away.
Like one out in the country.
When we wanted to go, we didn't want to lose our way of life altogether, you know. still want to keep it travelling like. I'm a real traveller. I've been mother and father and my grandfather and my great-grandfather before me was travellers. And we just want to keep the tradition going, you know. We're a dying race. It's like the Indians. They get pushed back and further back onto reservations and that. When they're only just beginning to fight back now, look at that ones who take over that Alcatraz Island. They had to do something drastic, but we're trying to do something drastic here. We're not trying to take over, we're not trying to force anybody, but we're trying to get ourselves in the eye of the public, so as at least other people, the world will know what we're up against.